It starts as a whisper, something you can't quite name, a flicker of dread that crawls beneath the skin. Every fear and every doubt, just another turn in the dark. In psychological horror, the monster isn't out there. It is already inside. Welcome to Lorefall. Today we are exploring 9 titles to help you find inspiration for your upcoming horror role-playing games. Each of these explores dark recesses of the mind, hopefully helping you scare your players. Not all of them have to be strictly horror, but we believe that there is something in all of them to make them unique. We try to keep them as spoiler-free as possible, but in case you want to experience them without any prior knowledge, do skip ahead. If you would like to support our channel and enjoy these videos, please consider joining our Patreon. Now, without any further ado and in no specific order, here are 9 titles to help you make your players question their own sanity. Gideon Falls. For anyone that has ever wondered where my online handle comes from, it is this amazing comic book series by writer Jeff Lemire and artist Andrea Sorrentino. In Gideon Falls, worlds unravel into a single nightmare as a black barn appears and disappears throughout time, carrying madness in its wake. In one place, a city recluse obsessively collects trash, convinced it hides a clue to a vast cosmic secret. In another, a small town priest uncovers a legacy of evil older than the town itself. As their paths converge, reality fractures, and faith, sanity, and identity blur into something unrecognizable. Equal parts mystery, metaphysical horror, and existential dread, Gideon Falls is a story about the thin line between revelation and insanity. Hannibal. Hannibal is less a crime show than a fever dream. It follows FBI profiler Will Graham and his mentor, Dr. Hannibal Lecter. What begins as an investigation into killers becomes an examination of identity, ethics, morality, and even friendship. Meals are prepared like rituals, while murders are staged like pieces of art. As the bond between hunter and prey deepens, morality dissolves and the lines vanish completely. Hannibal is psychological horror at its most seductive, largely helped by an incredible visual style and the out-of-this-world performances by Mads Mikkelsen and Hugh Dancy. Silent Hill 2. Unsurprisingly, we could not make a list of inspirations for psychological horror without mentioning this masterpiece of a game. If you end up playing the original or the recent remake by Blooper Team, you will be terrified. Never has a game like this been made again, and we don't think it ever will be matched. You play as James Sunderland, a widower who has suddenly received a letter from his deceased wife to come meet him in the town of Silent Hill. This is all we are going to tell you, because if you don't know where this game goes, start downloading it now and cancel your plans. There are also a lot of great playthroughs to be found online, and great YouTube channels analyzing everything Silent Hill. We will gladly recommend Max Derrett's YouTube channel. American Psycho. On the surface, American Psycho is a story about Patrick Bateman, a wealthy Wall Street investment banker in 1980s Manhattan. Beneath that surface lies something completely hollow. Bateman's world is one of polished perfection, designer suits, high-end restaurants, and meaningless status. But behind that mask of success, his identity fractures. The horror isn't the violence. It's the emptiness, the repetition, the sense that nothing matters and none of it is real. Bret Easton Ellis turns consumer culture itself into the monster. American Psycho is less about the murder than it is about the alienation, the narcissism, and the terrifying quiet of the mind that feels nothing at all. You Are Not My Mother. In a Dublin neighborhood, our protagonist's mother mysteriously disappears, only to reappear again. But she is not quite the same. As the days pass, her behavior grows more and more erratic, Tender moments give way to terrifying ones, and it is not long before we begin to suspect that whoever the woman in the house is not the mother. Inspired by folklore, more specifically the myth of changelings, this film, directed by Kate Dolan, explores themes of mental illness, family, and identity, diving deep into the abyss to explore what happens when someone you love becomes someone you don't know any longer. Alan Wake. Fog-shrouded American town? Check. Author as a protagonist? Check. Supernatural occurrences? Check. This is not a Stephen King novel, but Remedy Entertainment's Alan Wake. However, if you ever wanted to play a King novel, this game might be the best chance you've ever got. Told in an episodic style, you play as the titular character Alan Wake, who, in the hopes of overcoming his writer's block, goes on vacation in Bright Falls. There, things take a turn for the worse, and an unfinished book seems to be the least of Alan's problems. This game is a descent into the psyche of an artist haunted by his own words, a meta-horror about authorship, guilt, and a fractured mind. House of Leaves. This book by Mark Z. Danielewski is a bit hard to describe. First off, we would say that it is not really a book you just read but experience. As corny as that might sound, once you've read it, you will most likely know what we mean. The story starts with a somewhat simple premise. A family moves into a house and notices that the inside of their new home is bigger than the outside. But this impossibility is only the start. The story is told in layers, footnotes spiral, and text fragments as the book becomes a maze. This piece of literature is unlike any other. Just the fact that there are YouTube videos explaining how to read this book should give you an idea. Jacob's Ladder. We follow Vietnam veteran Jacob as he is haunted by visions and doubting his own reality. One of Tim Robbins' best performances pulls you right into the confusion and horror felt by the protagonist as you realize that the monster of this film is not knowing what is real anymore. Beneath it all lies an exploration of themes such as loss, grief, and guilt. This might be one of cinema's most vivid portrayals of psychological horror that has ever been put to screen. Hellblade, Senua Sacrifice. You play as Senua, a Celtic warrior traveling into the land of the dead to save the soul of a man she once loved. But the true battle isn't against the gods and beasts you encounter, but it's against the voices that whisper, mock, and guide you. Ninja Theory has crafted a masterpiece with so much care. The developers worked closely with experts to ensure the correct handling of her psychosis, and the performance of Melina Juergens is beyond captivating. What begins as myth becomes metaphor, a raw, harrowing portrayal of grief, guilt, and mental illness. Hellblade turns the player into both witness and participant in Senua's pain, and by the end, you're not just surviving the darkness, but you are learning to understand it. Psychological horror isn't about monsters or shadows or even blood. It's about what happens when the mind turns inwards and can't find a way out anymore. These stories remind us that the scariest place we'll ever go is the dark recesses of our own mind. If you have enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments and give it a like so the dark and twisted mind of YouTube sees us too. You can also support Lorefall on Patreon for ad-free and early access. Thank you for watching. This is Lorefall, and until next time, keep hold of your fleeting sanity.